Imagine entire cities, once bustling hubs of global trade, now swallowed by the desert, their stories whispered only by the wind. We're about to unearth the incredible, forgotten metropolises of the Silk Road, places like Merv and Samarkand, that shaped empires and controlled the flow of wealth for centuries before vanishing without a trace. What happened to these legendary cities? The Silk Road as a network of cities. When we hear the words Silk Road, many imagine a single dusty road stretching endlessly across deserts and mountains, a lonely trail carved by camel caravans carrying silk and spices. But the Silk Road was never just a road. It was a vast, living network, an interconnected web of cities, cultures, and civilizations stretching from the Mediterranean to the heart of China. Cities like Samarkand, Bukhara, Merv, Kashgar, Dunhuang, and Palmyra were not mere stops. They were thriving hubs of commerce, knowledge, and culture. Their markets overflowed with Chinese silk, Indian spices, Persian carpets, Roman glass, African ivory, and Arabian incense. These urban centers were linked by caravan routes like arteries, moving wealth, knowledge, and culture across continents. Religious ideas, technologies, art, and even diseases traveled along these arteries, reshaping societies along the way. To understand the Silk Road is not to follow a line on a map, but to rediscover the forgotten cities that once connected the world. The central mystery: how did they disappear? These cities were colossal metropolises, home to tens of thousands, guarded by towering walls, filled with palaces, temples, libraries, and markets buzzing day and night. And then, they vanished. Their names survive only in ancient texts, faded maps, and half-buried ruins. Some were swallowed by shifting sands. Others faded into silence as trade declined and empires collapsed. So the question remains, how did cities that once stood at the center of global power simply disappear? Was it climate, war, shifting trade, political upheaval? Perhaps all of these. The truth is not a single event, but a chain reaction that echoes across centuries. The Golden Age, Merv and Samarkand. To understand what was lost, we return to the height of these cities. Merv, known as the Queen of the World, rose in a desert oasis nourished by elaborate canals. Massive walls enclosed a city of palaces, citadels, libraries, mosques, and temples. Scholars, engineers, poets, and merchants walked its streets, making Merv a hub of commerce and intellect. Samarkand dazzled travelers with its architecture. Domes of shimmering blue tiles, soaring minarets, flowing water channels, and madrasas that nurtured learning in astronomy, medicine, and mathematics. Its people spoke dozens of languages, practiced multiple faiths, and created art that blended Persian, Chinese, and Islamic influences. At their height, these cities were global centers of trade, culture, and innovation. Proof that globalization existed centuries before the modern world. Wealth and cultural exchange. The Silk Road was an engine of wealth. Chinese silk, Indian spices, silver, gemstones, and exotic goods traveled thousands of miles, enriching cities and empires alike. Banking systems, caravanserais, and credit networks emerged to support long-distance trade. But the Silk Road carried more than material wealth. Religions, philosophies, and scientific knowledge moved across continents. Buddhism spread from India to China. Islamic scholarship reshaped science and medicine. Art, music, and cuisine blended diverse traditions, creating hybrid cultures unlike any other. These cities were not isolated. They were living laboratories of human ingenuity, creativity, and exchange. Their influence continues to shape the modern world. Political landscape, empires, and power. Control of trade meant control of power. In the east, the Han dynasty secured western corridors of China, projecting influence into Central Asia. The Parthians regulated trade between Rome and China, thriving on diplomacy and geography. The Sasanian Empire centralized commerce, protecting cities with fortified walls. Under the Islamic caliphates, cities like Baghdad, Samarkand, and Merv became cultural and intellectual capitals. The Mongols briefly reunited the Silk Road, enforcing safety and enabling trade, but their initial conquests devastated cities along the way. The fate of the Silk Road cities was tightly intertwined with the rise and fall of empires. When political power was strong, the cities thrived. When it weakened, they declined. Human stories. Merchants, artisans, scholars, and rulers. Beyond monuments and markets, the Silk Road was built by people. Merchants rose before dawn, preparing camels for months-long journeys. Artisans blended techniques from distant lands, creating ceramics, textiles, and metalwork of extraordinary beauty. Scholars translated texts, debated ideas, and preserved knowledge that traveled across continents. Rulers depended on cities for wealth and stability, protecting them with law and military might. Ordinary residents experienced a cosmopolitan life, hearing dozens of languages, tasting exotic foods, and celebrating festivals influenced by countless cultures. These cities were not abstractions, they were homes, vibrant centers of human activity, creativity, and connection. Innovation, art, and daily life. Technological and artistic achievements thrived in Silk Road cities. Ingenious irrigation systems sustained agriculture in arid deserts. Caravanserais accommodated hundreds of travelers. Palaces and walls demonstrated architectural mastery. Artisans produced mosaics, paintings, metalwork, and textiles, blending styles from Persia, China, India, and the Mediterranean. Scholars advanced mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. Yet daily life was full of challenges. Traders faced long, perilous journeys. Artisans labored tirelessly. Cities demanded adaptation and resilience, but they also offered opportunity, wealth, and exposure to the wider world. The Silk Road was both a hub of human achievement and a crucible of survival. Decline. Climate, trade, politics, and invasions. For all their grandeur, Silk Road cities were fragile. Climate change brought droughts, dried rivers, and failing crops. Shifting trade routes diverted commerce, leaving markets empty. Political instability undermined protection and governance. Invasions, like those of the Mongols, caused destruction, depopulation, and permanent abandonment. The decline was a domino effect. Each challenge amplified the next until once thriving cities faded into ruins. By the time the dust settled, cities that had dominated continents were reduced to empty streets, crumbling walls, and echoes of the past. Lessons from history: fragility and resilience. The story of these cities reminds us that prosperity is fragile. Environmental, economic, political, and social systems are interconnected. Civilizations rise through innovation and adaptation, and they fall when resilience fails. Modern societies can learn from the Silk Road the importance of adaptation, sustainable resource use, and global cooperation. The rise and fall of these cities are both warning and inspiration. Rediscovery, Legacy and reflection. Today, archaeologists are uncovering the Silk Road's lost cities. Streets, palaces, coins, manuscripts, and artworks long hidden beneath sand and soil. These discoveries illuminate the movement of goods, ideas, and people across centuries. By studying these cities, we understand the origins of globalization, the exchange of culture, and the resilience of human societies. Preserving them safeguards not only history, but insight for the future. The Silk Road teaches that empires may rise and fall, but the legacy of human ingenuity, exchange, and connection endures. Look closely at the paths we travel today. Reflect on the knowledge we share, the communities we build, and the civilizations we leave behind. The Silk Road may have lost its cities, but its story continues, shaping our understanding of the world, past and present. The past is buried in sand, but its lessons are timeless.